Hi, welcome back for another episode of Let's Talk About It. My name is Amy, and today I'm joined by Johannes Kresse. He is the CEO of a German consultancy called Securium. And if you're in Germany, you might know him from one of the security meetups that he organizes across the country. But otherwise, he's here because he specializes in helping MSSPs to optimize their security operations centers. And he is sharing his insights into how the German market differs from the North American one. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. We've got Johannes on the call. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Before we really get into the weeds of this conversation, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with German MSSPs?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. So I run a small consultancy company, and we are doing all kinds of things in terms of security consulting, and one of which is, of course, optimizing security businesses, MSSPs as well. So we are creating SOCs from scratch. We are training security teams, and we do optimizations in terms of technology or budget.
And what about before you started there?
Oh, I had multiple positions in big companies, small companies, software companies, security companies, and I did my best there to enhance security, basically. And now I'm on the consulting side, teaching what I did in the past, so that others do not do the same mistakes that I did in the past.
Yeah. And has all of your MSSP experience been in the German market?
Actually, yes. I had a small endeavor in Eastern Europe and in Southeast Asia, but that was not that much. It's just a cultural difference, but of course not technology-wise. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just to give some color to my background of knowledge coming into this conversation is that most of the MSSP knowledge and experience and exposure that I have is in the North American market, of course, like Canadian or American MSSPs. And so I'm just very curious to find out from you more about how those markets differ and, like what kind of customers you're serving, what kind of regulations you're dealing with, and how that experience is either echoing or differing from what we're experiencing in the North American market. So, when it comes to your actual customers, right? Are all of your customers German or are they kind of spread across Europe?
That's um that's a good one. So for the most part, those are German companies. That's for sure. So when we educate and consult German MSSPs, that's for the most part they have German origin. Some companies are actually coming from the Netherlands. We have companies from Switzerland and Austria also penetrating the German market. But for the most part, that's yeah, MSSPs from Germany.
Right. Yeah. And something that I think that people probably don't really think about in the North American market is the language, right? So, like, are you just offering your services in German and then the English is for the people who are not German companies? Or, like, what kind of a language are you delivering your services in?
I mean, we would switch to English, of course, if that's somehow required. But as it is the region, yeah, we just deliver it
Mostly in
in German.
German.
Yeah, in German.
Okay.
Most of the customers demand that. They're just
Right.
familiar with the language. They can, yeah, they have their terms and definitions which are unique somehow, which is not always the best thing to have. Also, when it comes to security, but yeah, German language is required.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what else makes the German MSSP market so different than the American market, do you think?
Different is a good word.
Yeah.
I would say they are falling behind right now, and they are slowly keeping up again, but they're falling behind basically. You guys have a more advanced market, I would say. You have the better tech because of faster
Hmm.
adoption. That's a big thing. And you have probably more, I would say, bold visionaries. You say you have a problem and you tackle it. You fail fast, basically. And what yeah, Middle Europe, I would say, or Germany in particular, doesn't want to have is a failure. So we draft and draft and draft and want to come up with the best solution, but we lose time. And that's a real problem, also mixed in with the regulations that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we are yeah. So all in all, MSSPs in Germany are slower, and also the lack of good talent is a big problem here. And we have to focus also on the requirements from the governmental side. So all the regulations have to be taken into account, and that's a huge problem when it comes to tech, using the cloud, using cloud providers from anywhere but Germany, and also use a lot of yeah, the tech stack that comes from actually yeah, Canada, USA,
Yeah, I can't
you
think
name
of a
it.
single software provider off the top of my head that is headquartered and based in Germany, to be honest.
We have a lot of good companies in Germany, but they are kind of small, and they do not sufficiently serve the entire market. Some of the companies are not even known. Some of the companies are, let's say, niche players still, and they compete with the US market for sure. But all in all, the big tech is coming from still USA,
Mm-hmm.
Canada, and UK even.
Yeah.
Israel as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Israel for sure. Do you put any importance into working with vendors that are specifically from Germany, or do you diversify from like American, Israeli, like whatever we're just talking about?
I mean, what we do in the consultancy business is that we recommend the best product that fit the need. Either when we consult companies that just want to have better security, we do a decent requirement engineering. That's for sure. And whatever comes out, that's yeah, then the solution that needs to be picked. And when we consult MSSPs, it's exactly the same way. So we look for the best in class, if you will. We look for their specific requirements, but they do not differ that much from MSSP to MSSP. So when there is a good German company that delivers good results, has a proven track record, is stable, is secure, has all the features that all the other companies from overseas also have. And then we yeah, try to focus on that, but
Mm-hmm.
then you still have the pricing issue. But that's I would say percentage wise, it's 10% or even less when it comes to technology stack. So
Okay.
for the most part, it's yeah, it's US or Canada
Yeah, because I have to
where the software is
understand though
coming
that,
from.
or I have to assume that you have some customers who are maybe like in have more heavily regulated industries who maybe have data requirements that say like you have to have all of the data housed in Germany and you know a lot of other regulations. Is that the case?
That's the case, and that's a special hell we
Mm.
created in
Yeah.
Germany for us. So when it comes to using the technology, we have it's quite funny. We have to make sure that everything is on paper, everything looks good, everything is compliant in a way, and you have a larger, far larger paper trail of things because when things hit the fan, you have to prove that you did everything right. You have to prove that your risk is probably properly assessed. So then you can use whatever you want. That's for sure. But there's a slight risk of that being somehow I wouldn't say dismantled or yeah disrupted. I should say, because when it comes to the regulation, some government agencies they really look into that what you did there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest challenge that we have. So choosing
Mm-hmm.
the right software, choosing the right SaaS service is key, and we're losing time for that. Implementing it the right way would yeah would make you fall behind. That's the real problem here in Germany, and also the sales cycles of
Mm-hmm.
yeah they're bigger,
Yeah.
just bigger.
Right. Yeah, and like with the regulations, you know, something like GDPR, for example, this has become a global issue, right? Like a lot of American companies still have to comply with GDPR because they have European client data. But I have to imagine that there are other regulations that we're just like not even aware of or like we don't have to follow that have like another added layer of complexity for you guys.
That's true. We have GDPR, of course, right? That's a funny story of yeah, in and of itself because when it comes to GDPR, in Germany it's called DSGVO, which is yeah beautiful. Um, it's taking into account of how you handle customer data, and that's quite hard because it's not only the GDPR itself, it's um, the like the precedents that occur inside handling cases in GDPR. So you have someone who's yeah who believes that he is mishandled, misjudged, that his data is spreading across multiple companies, and he is filing a lawsuit, right? And the judge says, okay, in this particular case, we have to take into account blah blah blah, and it will be a far bigger issue to take care of what the judge said. And when you have, I mean, GDPR was introduced in, let me guess,
2017,
27, 17
maybe?
something, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that going for like 8 years. And now we have multiple cases where the judges ruled something, and you have to take into account all those different cases. So you have the law, and then you have the sayings from the judge, all the rules that they came up with in their understanding, and on top of that, you have the NIS2 regulatory
Yeah.
compliance. Also for different branches, you have DORA for banking. You have for every industry, basically, you have TSAX for the automotive industry. And it's basically a derivative of rule sets that take into account different risk factors, but you have to take into account that you have to be compliant. And compliance means, okay, another rule set, another set of box ticking, and that just takes time to implement it. But if you do it right, it's not that hard, but it's time consuming. That's the issue, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think the with the introduction of GDPR, we've obviously all had to approach data privacy in a new way, than it was like 10 years ago. And it is completely different. And, in there we have GDPR, but now we also have in California CCPA. We have all of these different standards, and it all kind of stemmed as like a result of GDPR. So this is like very interesting, because it is obviously a very European driven initiative. Another thing that I feel that we're experiencing more and more in the American MSSP market, just with like the recession that we're going through today, is like a tightening of budgets and having to do a lot more with a lot less money. Is that experience echoed in the German market as well?
Yes. So we have, of course, in the European continent, we have a war going on. Basically,
Hmm.
we have uncertainties that we yeah did not have in the past. So we have energy prices skyrocketing somehow. We have uncertainties in some political areas, and that's driving inflation, of course. And we have quite a severe recessionary headwind, I would say. And that's a big problem. It's becoming a problem right now, I would say, in terms of contracting long-term MSSP contracts. So
Mm.
um, yeah, customers becoming price sensitive, and the discussions about features and services that are not directly necessary are
Getting
quite difficult.
slashed. Okay.
Yeah, getting slashed.
Right.
Yeah.
And has it changed the way that you have had to do operations as the MSSP?
Fortunately, no. So I would say the business is running good. We have the same questions always: how to improve business, how to cut costs on MSSPs, how to improve technology stack. That's kind of always the same, I would say. And in addition to that, there's another topic which is reporting. So I'm kind of switching the topic because it's hard to explain. So right now you have in Germany, I would say 6 years of constant delivery from MSSPs. Within those 6 years, you have most of the contracts are 2-year contracts or 3-year contracts. Some of them are 5 years, of course. But now you have a huge wave of MSSPs that are being changed. So the customer decides for other MSSP. And of course, existing MSSPs are struggling getting the same clients that they had in the past. So they are wondering, why is that? And so the customer side, they just feel, okay, what did I actually buy? I have a service running, which I cannot really see. I just get
Mm,
reports a little bit, and I have to feel safe right now. So that's the service I bought. So they are getting familiar with the things they actually bought, and they do a comparison about what they bought and what they actually expected. And the conclusion of that is clients are driven out of the existing MSSP and changing to another one. And we are always helping this process to be successful and sharpening the expectations, what actually can be expected from a service that runs smoothly. And on the other side, we educating MSSPs to do exactly that, the new expectation, the new demand from the customers, right? That the output is sharp, that everything is on time, in place, that the compliance that has been increased is fulfilled. So that's a new challenge, I would say. It's
right.
quite harder.
Okay, so it's more about then sounds like improving the tech stack that they have and improving the reporting capabilities and sharpening your services that you're providing then is how you're remaining competitive.
Yes, it's having more output for less money.
Yeah.
It's always the same story, right? Even without a recessionary environment. But
Yeah.
and nowadays, it's focusing on reports. You have to have the best metrics. You have to have automation more than ever. You have to be critical about what you're delivering, what is expected, and how do you get there. And the key part is you cannot have an army of people doing manual work. You have to automate what can be automated, and that involves good tools, good tool stack, and a good quality decision making process of decisions that have to be made in order to be able to automate things. You know that, right? You cannot
Hmm.
automate something where you are stuck in decision making. So,
Yeah.
can we automate something? What is the path to go? Right way, left way? We need to decide something, and you have to have an efficient process to automate things, and then just focus on automation and make
Right.
it efficient. That's in the top three focus points, I would say.
Okay. Now, this is such a broad question, but what are you automating for your customers?
Everything. Basically, starting with, I mean, it's a broad question, so it's a
Yeah.
broad answer too. So everything. It's first of all, I would say analysis. There's a huge part you can automate or just simply make quicker when it comes to analysis of data. There is a huge part where you have to automate reporting, the good metrics, the real metrics that get you somewhere. Those are the hard metrics that you manually write down after an incident, for example. And when you manage to automate it, you have your data at hand, you have the report almost ready to be sent out. And that saves a lot of time. And when you take into account that multiple analysts do manual work in an incident, and you can reduce that by 90%, 95% with automation, with good decision-making process before, and with good requirements engineering of which tools are going to be involved in a certain kind of process, in eradication, even in containment, in the reporting, but first and foremost for analysis, then you're winning. Basically, you're you're
Hmm.
you're really good on track, and you can actually deliver more and more to the clients that are not willing to pay extra for your service.
Right. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. We have in the North American market, I think, this new obsession and craze with adding AI into the mix in your SOC, in your MSSP. Is it the same in Germany?
No.
Okay.
Um, I from everything I have seen is that we look at AI and we are. I mean, I speak as a German. It's my observation. It's not.
Skeptical.
We just wait for things to happen, and we pick the best outcome. Right now, I do not see any MSSPs that are heavily involved in AI. There are some that try their best to use the existing tools that come with tool stacks that are quite familiar. I personally, I would say we have six different, totally different tool stacks, and within those six different tool stacks, we see, I would say, one particular one that is leveraging AI. But for the most part, there's a German angst, I would say, to
Mm-hmm.
not use AI because it's so mysterious and it's so
Yeah.
dangerous to use it. And that's where the chances are. If you adopt AI right now, if you have a tool that is functioning, if you have a tool stack that is offering out of the box use cases that you can leverage with AI, do it. That would be my recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just starting, and I know that you guys are far ahead in time
Yeah.
doing that.
Do you have the perception that the German market is more risk adverse than the American market?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We try to reduce risk, even if that we do not know all the risk vectors, I would say. So there's almost you almost can say that some companies come to a standstill for discussing over and over the same issues and do not make the right decision. But yeah, you can also politely say it's yeah, we are risk averse.
Well, I think that there is almost a like a thing in North American culture where if something is like shiny and exciting, everyone gravitates towards it, and the marketing speak towards it is very much like, let's like build it up, let's sell it, let's promote it, let's like bump it up. And the German market is more just like, this is my product, buy it or not.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, we tend to wait a little bit longer and then adopt. And but I have hope. I need to say I have hope because um, how do I say that politely in a way to not offend any German? We have a demographic issue, and the younger generation is now pushing in, and they want to also do the fail fast way of building, right? So failing fast, trying new things, pivot, and then yeah, fast forward, have something to use, which generates the right output. That is something that younger generation, that the younger people are striving for, and this is now. Yeah, you can say it's a small trend, but it's there, especially in startups. And yes, Germany has startups, quite fast ones, I would say, and they adopt real quick. And that's my personal hope that
Yeah.
things will change.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a new age camp and like an old
Yes.
school risk adverse camp. Okay. I mean, I think that still echoes the North American market as well. Like you definitely still have people who are more risk adverse for sure. But in general, I think a lot of North American people are much more like excited to jump on trends.
Yes,
And German people are very straight to the point and matter of fact about a lot of things, I think
that's
comparatively.
true.
Yeah.
That's true, definitely. And I would even say that when it comes to technology, I mean IT in particular, or IT security even, um, there's a quite interesting effect that takes place. So whenever you guys have a trend, you run the trend, right? But when this trend is coming to Europe, it has been sorted out already. So if it makes to Europe, it's proven good for the most part
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
security. So I would also say as a recommendation, if it reaches your eyes and your ears, it's probably worth trying it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, this was great. I learned a lot about the German market. It's been a long time since I've been to Germany, but we also go to a show. It's in Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's ITSA, right?
Yes, yes, we go to ITSA every year. So, yeah, we definitely love our German MSSP market for sure. And it's been great to chat with you to learn more about that. So, if we want to find you and what you're working online, where can we look?
Definitely, you can meet me at ITSA. I will definitely meet you.
All right.
Yeah, and my profile is on LinkedIn, Johannes Kresse, and the company is called Securium. So securium.com. You can find me there, and basically that's it.
Great. I'll put all of those links in the show notes for everybody in case you're interested. And thanks so much for joining, Johannes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.